Good morning and welcome to the final episode of our 4 Steps to Growth in 2022. In previous episodes, we've looked at opportunities restructuring can bring to future-proof your business, benefits of a corporate health check to assess your company's compliance with key regulatory obligations, and outsourcing as a means to monitor, organize, and ensure you have an expert team managing operations and obligations in a professional and cost-effective way. In this last episode, I'm going to look at how adding a foundation, a simple yet sophisticated asset protection tool, can preserve family value and business wealth into a beautiful, organized, and durable structure that will withstand the test of time. Legacy planning and asset protection go hand in hand. Legacy is important and asset protection provides an avenue to secure it. The objective of asset protection tools is to protect assets and accumulated wealth from threats such as creditors, divorce, lawsuits, and judgments. Trusts are a common tool, but with respect to UAE assets, foundations are more effective. A foundation is an independent legal entity that holds assets separately from the founder's personal wealth. It is a registrable entity managed by a foundation council, which is similar to a board of directors, and may be supervised by a guardian. The assets of a foundation are owned by the foundation in its own name and may be held directly by the foundation or consists of shares in an underlying company. A foundation provides more flexibility as a distinct legal entity, as opposed to a trust, which is established as a contractual agreement and faces practical limitations in the UAE. Team MHQ has a whole webcast series dedicated to foundations, comparing them with trusts and offering case examples addressing the compatibility with a range of business and family structures. Please contact us to find out more about these webcast series. But given that there is a lot of information on how a foundation can be successfully implemented, I'm going to take a high-level view of how a foundation can be used together with the other tools we have identified during this webcast series to provide the icing on the cake to an enduring operating structure. The best way to illustrate this is through a case example. I'm taking the example of the Jones family, who was led by a patriarch who established a successful engineering business in the UAE 40 years ago. The facts behind the business are that it has 2 companies registered in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The business holds properties in the UAE and abroad, and in particular in the UAE, it holds property, real estate in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and Dubai. It also has registered IP held by a separate ADGM holding company. Alongside the business, the Jones family invests its own family money in shares in other companies inside and outside the UAE. An ADGM holding vehicle has recently been registered to act as a family investment holding company. Mr. Jones, the patriarch, who is a Muslim, is in his 70s and is concerned with preserving his business and accumulated wealth for future generations. He is particularly concerned with the application of Sharia succession rules to his assets in the event of his passing. The Jones family comes to MHQ asking for advice on what more can be done to secure the family investments and business value for future generations. So our approach always starts with identifying different asset classes and the location of the assets. By separating different asset classes under separate holding vehicles, and in this example, we suggest using a holding company, perhaps established in the ADGM as an SPV. By doing so, we can protect against cross-contamination of liabilities. We can increase the flexibility to manage and deal with the different assets within these separate classes. And we can assist the company and the business to raise finance and attract investments pertaining to these separate asset classes. The next step is to consolidate the separate holding vehicles under a single foundation structure. A foundation can be established in the RAC-ICC, the DIFC, or the ADGM. A number of factors influence the choice of forum for a foundation, which is covered under our podcast. For this case example, a foundation incorporated in the DIFC is selected based on the fact that the real estate is located in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So what is achieved now for the Jones family? Well, the foundation we propose can be established by Mr. Jones, the patriarch. It can be managed by the appointed council members, and these can be family members or independent third parties acting like a board of directors. The foundation can be organized and managed to distribute the proceeds from underlying entities to identified beneficiaries, for example, Mr. Jones's family members and their heirs. Once the foundation is established, the assets of different classes can be consolidated under a foundation. Assets settled onto the foundation by the founder or another contributor become the sole property of the foundation. These assets cease to be owned by the founder and are no longer subject to third-party attacks. This is important. So attacks from creditors or from divorce or probate is no longer an issue for these assets are settled onto the foundation. Again, well, what is achieved in the bigger picture? We have achieved consolidation under one overarching structure, segregation of assets by classes. We've guaranteed smooth intergenerational succession, and therefore no involvement of authorities. There's no dilution of the assets. There's protection from family disputes. There's also protection from potential attacks from third parties, for example, creditors. There's enhanced privacy to the structure, and it offers a domestic solution, which is important from a cost-effective and practical operational standpoint. We've covered a number of important considerations for encouraging growth in your business, topped off today by looking at how business value and family wealth can be captured and protected for future generations. This concludes our first structuring webcast for 2022. Please get in touch to learn more about enhancing your business in the UAE, and I look forward to you joining us for future webcasts on how to enhance your business structure in the UAE. Thank you.